Exposure to weed-killing products increases risk of cancer by 41%, finds a new study that provides evidence that supports link between exposures to glyphosate herbicides and increased risk for non-Hodgkin lymphoma.
Here's a summary of the article.
A broad new scientific analysis of the cancer-causing potential of glyphosate herbicides, the most widely used weed-killing products in the world, has found that people with high exposures to the popular pesticides have a 41% increased risk of developing a type of cancer called non-Hodgkin lymphoma. Monsanto maintains there is no legitimate scientific research showing a definitive association between glyphosate and NHL or any type of cancer. Company officials say the EPA's finding that glyphosate is not likely to cause cancer is backed by hundreds of studies finding no such connection. The company claims the scientists with the International Agency for Research on Cancer who classified glyphosate as a probable human carcinogen in 2015 engaged in improper conduct and failed to give adequate weight to several important studies. A bias statement on glyphosate cites the EPA assessment and says that glyphosate herbicides have been extensively evaluated and are proven to be a safe and efficient weed control tool. The study authors said their new meta-analysis evaluated all published human studies, including a 2018 updated government-funded study known as the Agricultural Health Study. Monsanto has cited the updated ARS study as proving that there is no tie between glyphosate and NHL. In conducting the new meta-analysis, the researchers said they focused on the highest exposed group in each study because those individuals would be most likely to have an elevated risk if in fact glyphosate herbicides cause NHL. Looking only at individuals with real-world high exposures to the pesticide makes it less likely that confounding factors may skew results, the authors said.
This post received a score of 42,782, with an upvote ratio of 89%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
What type of exposure are they talking about? Is having a window next to treated weed a high exposure, or is high exposure only considered for those who work with that stuff daily?
This is a meta-analysis of 6 studies that looked at high-exposure participants, i.e. herbicide applicators. These are the people that actually spray crops routinely for their job, farmers and their workers. They specifically excluded low-exposure studies as, in their words, their a priori hypothesis was that there is some effect that can be measured. From the paper, the participants in the 6 studies analyzed and #X200B.
They were covered in pesticides and fungicides, and to do the job fast and thus profitably, nobody wore gloves. Since planting means jamming your hands into the dirt over and over, they were always cut and bleeding a little. Thanks to those who re-educated me on percentages and risk. For those interested in what this work looks like, check out her book. Is decent though a little artsy, I guess.
Class action lawsuit? Might make like $20.
The system works.
Class actions aren't designed to get compensation, though they can sometimes get significant compensation, it depends. They're a bunch of people pooling their money to hire lawyers to financially punish the bad company so that they don't do it again. Who pooled their money to sue Costco over supposed issues with the metering of gasoline at their pumps? Winning labor law class actions always result in payouts to workers. An eBay class action got me about 5 cents, the law firm involved a lot more.
There's a few things to keep in mind, since that 41% sounds so scary. This study selects those exposed as those with routine direct skin exposure. Those would be folks applying this stuff professionally. The researchers specifically excluded low exposure and incidental exposure studies in this review. This means you can't draw conclusions about general safety from this study. It's unclear how much of this risk is mitigated by wearing proper protective equipment. TLDR, this study concludes that people who routinely work with glyphosate have an increased risk of non-Hodgkin lymphoma by 0.8 percentage points, an increase of 41% over the base risk.
Another good point, people who regularly apply glyphosate are most certainly exposed to nastier herbicides, pesticides on a regular basis. Also, the life of a farmer is a lot harder on the body than a regular job. Lots of sun exposure. I'd be more worried about the newer active ingredients or formulations that haven't been commonly used since the 80s. It wasn't the active ingredients in Agent Orange that caused cancer, it was the byproducts of the formulation. Edit. Sun exposure was one lazy example that came to mind. There are tons of other examples of hazards farmers face.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.